This is what you're going to receive in the mail, 2 of these, and this is the heat guide before it's folded up. And after this instructional video, you will have this. This is the completed unit. There will be 2 of these once you're done. So to do this project, you're going to want a working surface. If you use the kitchen table, protect it somehow, or your wife's ping pong table, she'll be ticked if you scratch it up, because this is steel and it'll scratch surfaces. You also want a hammer or rubber mallet, preferably a soft one, pliers, and this is an angle finder that'll come with the heat guide, and gloves if you're not used to working with sheet metal. It's highly recommended. It's just like paper. If you treat it the wrong way, you could get cut. So be cautious while doing this. So to start out, the first thing you're gonna want to do is you're gonna make these bends along these perforations. It's laser sliced out, so it's easier to bend along these lines. And you'll do this one, and then this one, and then work your way around. Your first bend, what you're going to do is you line up the perforations with the corner of whatever you're working on, be it a workbench or a ping pong table. You line these up, and then you can start bending like that. Start bending it. You can start with your palm. Works pretty well. Just make sure it doesn't slide off your corner when you're bending. Then finish it with a hammer or mallet. Once you got it almost done, you can slide it forward a little bit off of there so you can bend it to complete 90. Finish 90 degrees like that. Flip it around and do the other 90. Finish 90 degrees like that. Now line this corner up, next slot, and you work your way around. This one you can just bend a little bit. And that's where the angle finder comes in. It's better to be bent a little bit too far than not enough, because then it'll grip your kettle and the kettle will hold it out to shape when you install it. And these can be adjusted after it's assembled. So you just work your way down. Each one's exactly the same. Just don't get overly ambitious and bend it to 90. After you've done a few bends on this side, then you want to flip it around and start on this side. So then your final bend will be in the middle and it'll be relatively easy to do. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this final bend. Since it's curved on both sides, it's a little bit difficult to do it upside down. The easiest way we found to do this is line a board up on top, bring it to your bed of your table, and then just kink it. It takes a little bit of strength, but it's not too bad. Just work your way around. Any board will work. The sharper the corner, the better. That's your finished product. Well, this step, you're done with the hard stuff. On to the easy. Once you get all these bends done, the next step is to bend all these down. Start on the corner with the 2 holes in it, and you'll start by just bending this portion down, and you can bend this portion at a 90 degree. Just do it by hand. Come in here, bend these down. This is what I call a standoff. Distributes the heat better. So bend that in a 90-degree and then just bend it into the hole. You do it by hand or with pliers. Make sure it's seated before you bend that tab in. Push it through. Crimp that down. Then you can bend this at a 90 before you start. And come around. You get it started, you bend it in like that. You stick your plier handles in there, it helps bend that tab over, start it out so you can crimp it down. Then repeat on each one of these. Finish it out with this portion. Running away from you. Just push that down in there. Crimp it. See, it's turned up a little bit. You just pull it down in. If you can do this by your own strength. You can tap it with a hammer and get it shuffled in there, but that's the completed product. And then these are the standoffs. You just push those through and pull them to a 90-degree bend. And this is what spaces it the heat guide away from the kettle. And so whenever you're using this, the surface will be hot because the hot gas is passing through it. Wear gloves when removing it, or you can affix a handle in these two holes. And this is what you end up with. Two pieces, half like this. Fit over your kettle and direct heat up and around it for even heat distribution. Should take approximately 20 minutes to put together. I understand that a lot of people have different components coming out of their kettles, such as spigots or temperature thermometers, but everybody mounts them in different places, so I couldn't custom cut this to fit everybody's keg. So if you do happen to have a spigot coming out, you can set the heat guide onto the kettle like this and trace around the portion that you need to cut out to space. Say there's a thermometer up here and you have to cut around that. So I made this out of very light gauge sheet metal so that it can be easily cut. Once you have it traced around here, you'll have to cut through the lip portion first so you can trace down to the lip, and then you'll have to cut around there. You have to get yourself a pair of aviation snips, or tin snips as some people like to call them, and these can be easily cut through this material. You just snip around and clean up the edges with a file or sandpaper so you don't get cut on the sharp edges. And that way it'll fit snugly around your fittings or whatever. Even if you don't do a cutout like this, it'll still fit around the kettle properly, or not. It won't fit as snugly, and it won't be as high of efficiency as it could be, but it'll still improve your how fast you can boil, how much you can boil off, and save you gas and prevent your sugars from caramelizing because you heat over a greater surface area.